purpose of this world, as I come to understand of life, is to create and extend. Honesty is the best thing for everybody. You're asking yourself the question, who am I? Based on things that have happened in your life. And you're looking for answers in so many different places, just the wrong places. When God created each and every one of us, He created us perfect in who we are. So you have the potential to be a good person. Welcome to another edition of our Mastermind podcast, where we discuss the essence of character and how to discover and master oneself. Today, we will be discussing the difference between being nice versus good. And I said we because I have Lena here to weigh in on these conversations that we will be having today. But before we go any further, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button, and then leave a comment as to how you receive this message. Because here at the Starting Point Coaching, our goal is to unite hearts and minds in essence of completing and achieving our own personal desire that benefits the majority around us. So, as I'm going forward, one of the reasons why this topic came up to me and why I'm so interested in it is I want to take you back when I was 6 years old. At 6 years old, I did something I thought was good because my grandmother had taught me that being good is a great thing, and most importantly, that honesty is the most important thing that anyone can have. And the thing about honesty is that we must be honest with ourselves. And it's not for other people that we are honest. It's not for the desire or the pleasantry of other people that we are honest, but for our own fulfillment in life and how we can grow to become the character that we desire to be for the world to see, right?
So, sorry to interrupt. So the good thing that you did was based around honesty, or are you going to get to that point?
I'm getting to that point.
Okay.
The good thing that I thought was good it was based on honesty. The war has started, and then this was the first civil war that I was going through. My grandmother and I have left Liberia, and we went to Sierra Leone. And of course, a year later, the war spilled into Sierra Leone. Now, my grandmother are on our way back to Liberia, where it's my home country, where I'm from. Along the way, we actually come and meet up with my father. This is the first time, and the actual first memory that I have of my father.
So you never met him
Up
before.
to this point, age 6, I haven't really met or have any kind of memory of who my father was or is, the kind of person he was. I had no knowledge of it, right? So, first time I meet my father, I was excited. Things was good. But we spent about 2, maybe 3 weeks in the village where my life would really take shape for the better. Now, in hindsight, in the moment when it was happening for me, it seemed like the worst thing ever. Yet it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me to prepare me for the journey that I truly wanted to be on. So the morning arose, my grandmother decided that we were going to leave the village so that we can meet up in Monrovia with my mother and my siblings, so that we can all be together, because there's, of course, the civil war is going on. Now we have civil war in 2 countries, Liberia and Sierra Leone. So my grandmother and I were leaving. Halfway out of the village, I remember, and I can still remember, there's a bridge to cross, there's a swamp. And as I was walking along the bridge across the swamp, I remember that I didn't really say goodbye to my father. I thought it was a good thing because, again, my grandmother have taught me to be honest. I was being honest to say, you know what, grandmother, I would like to say goodbye to my father. Now, looking back at it, I know that she knew that if my father knew that we were leaving, he would most certainly not accept me leaving with my grandmother. My grandmother said no. I insisted that I wanted to say this goodbye. And I began to cry and I wouldn't go. So she said, fine. Walk me back, go to my father and say goodbye to my father. And to his surprise, he didn't know that we were leaving. Well, I was being nice to my father. Why? I was being really harmful to my grandmother, because this is the last time I also saw my grandmother. and this will be the last time I will see her. When I go into this play, every single time I go into this place, every time and I play the tape over and over, could I have done anything differently? The answer would be no. If I knew that my father would say, no, you can't leave, you have to stay here, would I still have wanted to say goodbye to him? Yes. And again, later on, the same story come up in my life again, except this time I had my voice and I understood what good was, especially for me, versus nice. So in that moment, I realized that nice is doing the things that we do to please other people's desire for us, mainly our parents, mainly our family members, right? So in that moment, I was being nice to my father to say, hey, I can't just leave. But I was not being nice to my grandmother, and I was absolutely not being good to her or myself. So when I think of it this way, I choose to be good, not nice.
And you were 6 years old at this
I
time.
was 6 years old. From that moment on, I decided that I wanted to be good, not nice, because it brought me no joy, no peace to do something for the pleasantry of other people if it didn't benefit me and a lot more. You know, my favorite quote, and again, the Bible is the book of wisdom. And one of the passages in the Bible that speaks of, it talks about service. And it speaks of our existing in this world, that the Son of Man did not come to be served, but came to be of service to others. And in the process of being of service to others, give his or her life as a ransom to many. So in that very alignment that says that I give my life as a ransom to many, clarify that I'm not here to please a single individual. And that single individual includes myself, but to create and extend from within me the character that I am and what I choose and know to be good. Create this and extend it out to so many that would benefit from it. Some of the things that we do is maybe you build a community of people that trust and believe in the path that you walk in. Because why? To see that this is going to benefit so many people. When we talk about self-mastery, it's a selfless topic that is designed to allow the individual to look within themselves, connecting the hearts and the mind to properly assess what is it that is deemed to be your calling. What is it that is your life's work? And this gift is given to you, and you have had these thoughts, these desires to give to so many people. And if this gift is that powerful, you feel it within yourself, I see it as a responsibility now to allow myself to hear it, see it, and allow the rest of the world to see it. Then they can choose to be a partaker of this, because now I'm a ransom to so many, or they can be in denial of this because this message doesn't really suit them and the character that they are. So when we talk about character of a person, I think a nice is a character that is weak and good is a character that is strong.
So how old were you when you realized this distinction? Because you were 6 at the time. And then was it like a few months later? Was it when you were a teenager looking back? Or was it like in that moment you decided?
It was years later, and I lost my grandmother 2 years later after she left. And at this time, I'm in the village with my biological father, and I have 3 stepmothers. And among the 3 stepmothers that I had, I also had 7 brothers and sisters at the same time. In that moment, I saw myself as an outcast. And one of the things I talk about in my book is that my voice was within me, but was never being heard. In those moments, I started to gather through my brain that my 2 words didn't really align. My physical environment was showing and teaching me one thing, and my mental or emotional world was showing and seeing different things. And that's the word that I had to believe in. That's the world that I had to choose. Then I started to realize that this place in my physical environment isn't where I wanted to be because of the desire that I have innate within me and the things that I wanted to do. And if that wasn't going to be made possible where I was, there was somewhere else that this could be made possible. Because I firmly believed that I could be a better person. I firmly believed that I could be in a better place. I firmly believed that I could create a life better than what I knew, better than the circumstances that was presented to me. It would have been a nice thing to do to accept this as life, because this is my circumstances. The rest of my family have grown through this. Generations have come through the same upbringing. What makes me so different? Where I wasn't in the interest of being nice to people. I wasn't really there to be nice. I was there to create and extend to so many that were around me who I knew could be better. When I lost my mother at age 12, that's when it really kicks in. So fast forward now from age 6 to 12, right? 12 and a half. My mother passing really changed everything for me. When I looked at it and I have lost the two most important women in my life, my grandmother was instrumental in my development. My mother was instrumental in my moral and ethical behaviors, which I was exhibiting at the time, because she was the kindest person that I knew. If my mom was in this room, she would probably speak like maybe 2 or 3 words, but she would have a smile on her face the whole time. I realized that my mother has been nice. I realized that my mother have done everything that she was doing to please other people, to accept her for who she was and to like her. And everyone to this day would talk about my mother, as an angel. But for me as her son growing up and watching her suffer, it was the worst thing I could have seen, because I wish and I wanted to see my mother be strong and make decisions for herself. Choose the life that she wants, regardless of what other people thought.
So while she was being nice, this whole time you're growing up, did you know that she was being a people pleaser, or was it
I knew that at around age 9 or 10.
And so you could see her kind of suffering herself while pleasing other people.
Absolutely, 100%. And one of the most important story that happened was she has visited me in the village, which I didn't know would be the last time, but it was the last time. And when my mother was leaving the village, at this time, actually, my little sister was also there with us, but they left. Now, at this moment, she has a different relationship from my father. When my mother came to see me in the village that one time, last time, I could see a human being that was very depressed, that was very unhappy with the situation of their lives. And I still remember to this day asking my mother, granted that she was no longer in relationship with my father, to stay, because I truly didn't like the man that she was dating at the time.
And I'm assuming you didn't know this was going to be the last time.
I had no idea this was going to be the last time. She didn't know either. Mm-hmm. But I just knew, and I saw a very unhappy mother. And I wish to God that in that moment I had the power, the strength to just speak the words that was within me. But all I could say is to hug my mother and say, please don't leave, stay with me. Because when I saw the relationship that she was in, it's not the kind of relationship I think anyone should be in. Mentally, physically abusive relationship, right? That was taking a toll on her. And of course, a year and a half later, I get the news that my mom passed away. I was devastated. At that point, I stopped caring. I really didn't care what happened to me at that point. No family member was going to tell me what to do. Zero. So at the funeral of my mother is when I made the most important decision of my life that was good and that is now benefiting so many people in my life. So at the funeral of my mother was the first time that I really decided to take life as it was, to take decision into my own hand. And the best thing my father ever did for me was to say, yes, we're going to your mom's funeral. Because when my grandmother passed away, I wasn't able to go to her funeral. I was younger. But when my mom passed away, I think my father could not take that away from me to say, you can't go to your mother's funeral. So he took me, and I met the rest of my family member that I have yearned to see for the last 7 years, and I have not seen them. Well, the funeral is over. Everyone's still very devastated. My brothers and sisters are. On the way out, my father said, we're going to leave. Now play this back 6 years and a half prior, when my grandmother was leaving, and I made a decision to go say goodbye to my father. Well, this time, my voices were going to be heard, or at the very least, seen. On the way out, I remember just sitting on the stairs, standing. My father has walked from the house very close to the gate to exit. And now my biological father is, of course, passed away, but my uncle, who is the older brother of my mother, so his sister just passed away, so we were at his house. And he is now the man that I call my father because he adopted me. So by way of adopting me, my uncle now becomes my father, and he becomes the most important figure in my life. And as I'm sitting here, my father's looked behind, I'm not close to him, asked me the question, what are you waiting for? We have to go. And I just shook my head. I didn't want to go. I said no. At that age, for me and everyone else, it was surprising. Because I was indifferent of my father. I was indifferent of my family. I was indifferent of family value. Well, at that moment, I didn't care about being nice. I didn't care about doing anything that pleased anyone else. I was most interested in doing the things that had been festering within me that I knew if and when done, it would benefit so many people. So in essence, have I been nice? I would have gone back to the village. And I'm not sitting here. By being good, I made a decision that is now benefiting so many around me. So again, self-mastery is a process of really learning oneself and defining the good character within you that you can give. And you have to be a strong person to be a good person. Which is why I said earlier, a nice character is a weaker one. Because to be nice doesn't take any strength. It takes me and you being agreeable. The answer to your question, again, it took my grandmother and my mother passing for me to stand up to be a man at full age of 13 years old to say no to my father, no to my uncle, no to my aunts, no to pretty much every one of my family member. And at that time, it was crazy to think of it.
So can you elaborate on when you said no to your father at that time, how that was good? Like what happened by saying no to not going with them made that good instead of nice and going along with them?
By saying no to my father made it a good decision, because even though my father disowned me from that moment on, and for 18 years we didn't speak, it turns out to be a good decision because my decision was not based on selfishness. My decision was based on the simple fact that I've seen my family for where they are and a lack of willingness and interest to do better than the circumstances that is handed to us. I was the only one in that moment, especially for my father's side of the family, that had this burning desire to be in better circumstances than where I was. My circumstances at the time was to prepare me for this. So what was good about that, I made that decision in the interest of not just me, but my family. And to follow up on that, I made sure through my life's journey to this point that I've never forgotten my family. I've never looked back on them. Although my family and I didn't speak for 18 years, everything that I was doing, that I have been doing to this point, was to link back to that relationship and build that bridge.
Okay.
I carry within my heart that my father loves me. I know he did. I carry within my heart that I love my father because I really did. I really respected him. So did many other people. The decision or choices, however, he was making for me, it was going to influence and impact my life. At that moment, I was making a good decision because the choice was about my life. Again, I didn't come in this world to be served. I came to serve others. So if I am to grow up and be of service to so many as I desire, I must choose the path that is clearly lay within me, but hasn't yet matured to a physical reality for people to see it, and follow that with faith and hope, with persistence and being patient with the process. So by doing that, when I made a decision in 2016 to link back with my father, it took me a lot of work, a lot of therapy work, a lot of coaching work to do this. It was my choice that I wanted to work with a coach. It was my choice that I wanted to work with a therapist, because I had a circumstance that I was dealing with that was bigger than I. To make sense of it, I needed to unpack everything that happened. So to truly understand, and of course, naturally, when I went through the therapist the first time, was about my family. Now, I didn't hesitate to let my therapist know at the time, I'm not here for the baggage of my family. I'm here for clarity. To understand the path that I've chosen is actually a good one that will lead me to accomplish everything that I have. So my desire and goal of being here with you is to pretty much bounce this idea of you, so I can see myself across from you based on the idea that I've built within myself. So from that point on, I started to master the person that I am. What led me to make those decisions at the time? Who was I at 13 years old to tell my father no? The whole family no. So at the end of the day, my uncle finally stepped in. He said, well, and my uncle's a lawyer, again, who now is my father. He finally stepped in and said to my father that, well, if Abraham wants to stay, he can. That brought such a peace within me that before I made the decision, didn't know who was going to support it, really didn't care. I didn't think about the outcome. All I knew was that this is what I wanted. This is where I want to be. Because by making this decision that was good, it was going to prepare me for my education. So now I can fully begin my education of going to school. Being in a classroom with kids that you are 5-6 years ahead of in age, it's not a fun thing. I wasn't trying to be nice. I was trying to be good. Because the good for me was to get my education at all costs. And in order to do that, I needed to not be nice, good, to be respectful and understanding of the choice that I'm making, how it benefits other people at every single moment in my life. It is what I'm about. It is what I've always been about. It is a character that is built within me that allows me to go through it, every situation, and understanding that the outcome is based on my decision. Because my decision and my outcome are one and the same. It's a cause and effect. It's not about what I do to you necessarily, but it's about how I desire or decide to treat myself. Because if I treat myself and I look at myself in a good light, there is no way I'm going to treat you any different. So for me, there is no difference between you and I. Goodness is goodness. And if you want to be nice, be nice. That's good. The world is going to love you because you're a nice person, but you're going to hate yourself for it. Your family's going to love you because you're a nice person. You're going to hate yourself for it. So
you don't think that good and nice can go together?
Not in a way that we've come to understand it. They could go together if we put good first ahead of nice. This morning, for example, before coming here, right? I did a nice thing. Drive in, I stop at McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's except for the oatmeal. So I got myself an oatmeal. I was under no obligation to get you a coffee or to get the video guy Verak a coffee, right? That's not a good deed. That's a nice thing to do. I was there. I was getting something for me. And then I thought, wouldn't it be nice to show up and surprise you with a coffee? Now, here's the thing. If I show up with a coffee and Verak said, sorry, I don't want coffee. If I did that expecting a reciprocal action towards me to say, oh my God, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. And yeah, let me do something for you. I've already failed. If you said to me, hey, I don't want the coffee. I don't drink coffee. Oh, I'm sorry. That's it. You don't want coffee. You don't drink coffee. I did a nice thing. You didn't ask for it. You didn't even know I was going to do this thing. Sometimes we take it personal when we do nice things for people and they don't accept it. Like, how do you not appreciate what I've done for you? I didn't ask you.
Yeah.
I wasn't even there when you were making these decisions. How am I now to be blamed because they didn't accept it? Well, the best I can say to you is, thank you so much, but I really don't drink coffee. That's you being honest and good, so that in the future, if I desire to do something for you, I got two choices. I can call you and say, hey, Lena, I'm at McDonald's. Would you like anything? You say yes or no. But at least I know now you don't drink coffee, so I'm not going to get you a coffee. Right? And so for me, like, the whole idea of being nice and good is you do something for being nice, that's a price. If someone accepts it, let them accept it. But I did that actually because I felt good. I was in that moment. It made me feel good to do it. So I've already served myself. I've already fulfilled the desire within me to do good.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it usually should be, right? But like you said, a lot of people have an expectation that if they give this amount of money, to an organization, they want recognition or they should get special treatment, but then you're not doing it from like an authentic place. And same thing with Christmas gifts, someone might get same pair of socks every year, and the person who's being nice will say, oh, I love these socks, and they don't. But then they're getting them every year now, and they're just getting tossed to the side. So that's a good point. Have you had anything recent? So 6 years old, you were being nice by trying to say bye to your father, and then at, I think you said 13, you decided, no, I'm going to do good for myself. I'm going to stay, regardless of my family being upset. And then has there been any big moments like that since you've been here where you made a distinct decision to be good, even though it wasn't nice or maybe favorable?
A good decision that is not nice or favorable is not a good decision. A good decision is always favorable. And a good decision is always nice and deserved. And this is where, to answer your question, can good and nice relate? Yes. A good decision is favorable and it benefits so many more. And is a nice decision because you know within yourself what outcome you've already created within your mind, right? So recently, again, throughout my life, this have played, it's been a cycle throughout my life. So when I got here, 1 year after we got to the United States, with my father now and my step family, we lived together for 1 year. So my stepbrother and I share a closet together. A closet, not a bedroom, a closet. So we just literally have to just put out our sheets and our pillow and sleep. That's what we share for the first year. And by year 2, similar situation arrives again with my step family, right? My stepmother, I love her. And she is now my #1 champion. Right? She is my #1 cheerleader, but we didn't get to this place by accident, nor did we get to this place easily. Because at this time, what she saw for me was to have my education, be a good kid, go to school, come home, do my home choices. That's what she saw for me. In her light, that's what was good. And then I could go to a nice college, graduate, and then I could get a job. That was her vision for me. My father also, that was his vision for me once we got here. You need to get your education, go to school and become a lawyer, doctor, whatever. Well, I saw so much more for me, myself, than that. Once again, I was defiant of my parents because I let my step-parents know that this was not what I was in for. I wanted to be active in sports. I wanted to be active in other extracurricular activities at school, which required me to stay after school or go early to school, come home a little later. My step family did not see that. At that moment, I did. So once again, I said to my stepmother and my father, I love you guys very much, but the vision that you have for me isn't the vision that I have for myself.
And how old were you at that point?
Oh, 16 and a half now. 16 and a half.
And you're telling them this, no, this is not what I want to do.
Oh, yeah. So I was waiting. And then I turned 17. So by that moment, though, I just got to the US a year and a half ago. I know nothing about this country at this point. So naturally, it would have been just nice for me to shut my mouth, sit quietly, listen to the adults. But I am well versed in who I am and the things that I want to accomplish. So when right away, I started doing my research. I started to do my research. I'm going to school and I'm doing my research on the things that I need to do to really support myself, because I could start to see that if this trend continue, in the household where I am now will not get me where I want to go. I need a scenery of different setting, but not a different family. This family is the glue to my life, is the glue to the existence that I am today. They have been an instrumental part in who I am. So there was no way in this world that I would ever really willfully disrespect or disobey them, but I will also not be nice to destroy my own future, because to do that, it would be also a disservice to them, because one of the desires that I have is to be a person, a child that my parents will be proud of. And now my step parents, and my mom isn't here, but my stepmother, she's my mom. I gave her the same respect, the same love, the same care I would have given my mother if she was here. So there is no difference there. And if my goal and desire was to be a son that will take care of his mother and watch his mother retire and not work again, I'm going to want to do the same thing for my stepmother and my father. There will be no distinction. So I did my research on what it would take, how living situations were, because I knew I was out. Did the research. I knew that by 17, technically and a half, I could file so that I can be my own legal guardians. Well, I did. My family are very good people. They're great. They love me. I know that. They just don't see my vision the way I see it. And I cannot blame them for that. And to allow my vision to come to fruition, I must pursue this, no matter which path or how long it takes me. So my goal is to just see what are the steps that I need to take to actually be approved to be my own self-legal guidance, because I'm old enough. So I did that. And of course, when the ultimatum came, so the nice things would have been to just listen to my family and just follow them. But that would have been a weakness of mine. The good thing that I did was to say, okay, I respect, I appreciate, and I love you guys so much, and I will never forget everything that you've done for me and you continue to do for me. So I left, lived on my own, put myself through high school. When I was graduating from high school, I made sure I write my family, wrote my dad, wrote my mom, and everybody. They know they would come because we haven't again spoken for the last 3 years since I left. So I emailed them at the graduation ceremony at the Strathmore Hall in Maryland, where my graduation ceremony was. I was in line with the rest of the graduates and, graduating honors in my class as well. I was very happy and proud of me because I have made a determination that I was going to get my education, and I made that happen. At the moment I was walking through the door, I looked up the hill. Guess who I saw? My father. He showed up for me when it mattered most.
Were you shocked?
I was extremely shocked, but not surprised.
Because you hadn't seen them in 3 years.
I was shocked, but not surprised because of the character that my father is and the man that he's always been. I had a feeling that he would show up, if not at the graduation, at least sometime after. But when he showed up right on time, I looked up and then next to him saw my stepmother and my sister. I was in tears of joy and excitement because once again, the universe have proven to me that good is good and good is nice. And if you do good deeds, it will bring you good deeds. The goodness that I did to leave the house to pursue my education because they saw me to be of someone good that would have if they had the education. Well, I did that. They came and they witnessed this. And at the end of the day, they all said, congratulations, we're very proud of you. But at that moment, any negative beliefs that was previously harnessed to think that I was doing something wrong was dispelled. Because my results says everything that was thought of me is no truth. So that was another good deed that I did, to work and to help support my siblings and my cousins, pretty much the whole younger generation, because I wanted them to be. That was a good / nice thing to do. What was it nice about that was that I put my own life on hold for 3 years. I put my life on hold and I just worked for the benefit. I was distraught when at the end of the day, all the efforts that I was putting in was not being seen. It wasn't being appreciated the way I thought it should be appreciated. Well, they didn't ask me for this necessarily. They asked for my support, but I didn't have to do it. I did it out of the goodness of my heart and what I want for me, what I wanted for them as well, because they asked that this is what they want. They wanted education. I will help you with this. So about 3 years come and go, I thought, all right, I've done everything that I could. At this moment, I put my life on hold. Now I'm restarting the engine and I'm making another good decision. So I went another 3 years not supporting my family. And I told them as much. I told them as much. Everything that I do is so clean. I called my older sister and I spoke to her very clearly. I love you, but please understand this. For the next 3 years, if it's in about just conversation of how I'm doing, I'm in no position to support you in any way financially. None of you. I cannot. Not because I don't want, but because I can't afford it. If I continue to support you in this light, I forget myself. If I forget myself, then what good am I to you? There is a reason that the military system runs so well. And even though I'm never had an interest to go to any military branch, but I had an interest in serving. But the reason it works so well is that there is a chain of command. If every human being understood the value of service, you will understand that you don't have to be in the army to serve. You can serve at every level. So at this point in time, I was in a position where I literally saw myself as the string that everyone would be hanging on. Well, if this is going to continue for a long while and endure the test of time, as we say sometimes, then I best be prepared. Then I best start working on myself now and building those foundations upon which, again, I will quote the Bible on this one, a house that is built on a rock will not fall, but a house built in the sand will fall at the sound of a wind. So tell me, if I'm being nice and just doing the bidding for my family or friends that ask for it, but I don't have it for myself, what good is in that? But if I am being good, I will build a stronger, sturdier foundation so that nothing will knock me off balance in the direction that I'm headed. Will it rain along the way? Yes, but the sun will shine afterwards. So I'm aware of these things, and now how we approach the circumstances of the rain, the storm, and come out of it the other end will determine the character that we are. And it strengthens the character that we already know we are if we know we are people of good character. So at that moment, I chose again later in my life to be a good person, not a nice person. I don't think any of my family understood that. The families who are back home in Liberia, they didn't understand that. And at that point, if I was in that position, I would probably say the same. You turn your back on your family. I think that's one of the most hurtful things that some people will hear in their life when family members say you turn your back on us. Some people take that to heart and it affects them for the rest of their life. Me, I heard it all the time. I reason with it. Because I can't judge my family based on where they are. They're not in this arena that I'm in now. But I have experienced what they are now experiencing. To see a complete different perspective, now I can only reason with them. Listen, I understand what you're saying. If I was in your position, I'd probably say the same thing. But I'm not. So because I'm not in your position, I cannot say the same thing. So therefore, I respect you and I appreciate and I love you. And I want you to know that I'm not turning my back on you. I never can, I never will. What I am doing is preparing myself to be of better service to you. I am putting myself in a position to be the best that I can be for myself so that I can benefit you at the highest level.
So they see that now.
They see that now. They see that now. You know, and going back home after 20 years, it was a blessing.
Do you think
It was
you'll go back?
truly a blessing.
Think it'll be like an annual visit now?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I never thought my family hated me.
Yeah.
I never thought they dislike me. I know that my family loved me very much, but in our own selfish way, and this is what the difference is between being selfish and selfless. In our own selfish way, when we used to a certain way of life and how it is, and that way of life is changed, we feel as though we are being outcast or pushed aside for something else. Maybe someone is abandoning us. You know, we used to sit down and have coffee together. We used to talk all the time. You know, why don't we talk anymore? Well, I have decided, I have made a good decision that if I want to achieve the level of success that I'm obsessed with, not interested in, obsessed with, then I must make the good decision, which in most cases is the hardest one to make, and change and alter the way I am living my life now. So what that might mean, sometime I may not have to talk to you every week. And I most certainly wouldn't completely travel this way if I talk to you every week. Because every time that I'm talking to you that brought no value to my journey is a time wasted, which is why we tend to have regrets on the time we spend with friends and family and relationship, because we felt like we spent all this time, nothing came of it. Well, we're being nice. Your partner didn't ask you to be nice. He saw you, he likes you, he appreciated you for who you are. He had a life before you, just like you had a life before him. But the moment we get together in a relationship, for example, we decide like, okay, well, we need to live for each other. My word is bigger than any one person. So I would never claim to the saying that an individual is my whole world. An individual is not my whole world. An individual is part of the world that I'm living in. And together we are sharing this and making the best of it. So to think that someone is my whole world, I'm losing myself. To think that I need to continue to live my life spending all day with you, again, I'm losing myself in a selfish way, because that's being selfish to please you. And you are being selfish to ask that of me, because you're not seeing the bigger picture of where I want to go. You're not seeing the desires of my heart of how much good I want to do. And I've chosen you to do this goodness with. That is really what's really interests me. So selfishness is again born out of resentment, of thinking that an individual that you once knew and cared for is abandoning you for something else. He or she is not truly abandoning you. And I think if you ever go back to ask someone who you thought was abandoning you, who is now at the position of success and have made something good of himself, they will take the time to tell you why they made the decisions that they made. There is a difference, however, when someone tells you directly that they don't want to be a part of your life and that they would like to move on without you ever contacting them again. That's hurtful too. But it's a good thing that they actually did that. They actually spelled out for me in plain letter, quote, I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. English, that's good. Why? It's easy for me to digest this. They told me already, I don't want to see you. It's harder when they haven't told me, but it's showing signs of it. And I'm not a mind reader, and I don't want to assume. So if you are trying to push someone away, just say plain, hey, Abraham, listen, maybe we can slow down on the conversation here a little bit more. How about that? Okay, great. Maybe, we shouldn't have to talk every day. Yeah, should I be okay? Yes. Please tell me what it is that you want that will bring you the goodness, but it also will serve you and so many other people, right? But to just think that the person didn't like you, and I'm telling you things that have already happened to me. There is nothing that I'm saying that I haven't either experienced and endured or gone through it more than once.
Is there something, so what brought this topic up today? Like, why did you want to specifically speak on this?
Good and nice?
Did something trigger it, or are you just, it's been on your mind? Like,
no, I don't have triggers.
No
I have
triggers?
reactions.
Okay. Did you have a reaction to something that made you think
I have a reaction. This one, though, is a knowledge base that is becoming the wisdom. Because the topic of good and nice, what I've realized is every moment of my life that I was nice, it didn't serve me well. Not at all. There has been never anything that I've done that was nice that served me well. And what I mean served me well, I desire one thing above all else, and that's peace. So if I desire peace above all else, and that peace is so important to me, and I choose peace, because someone will say, oh, happy, great. Well, if I am at peace with me, who I am, and the decisions that I'm making, I am going to do so much more good than when I'm not.
Have you had people tell you that you're selfish for choosing peace?
Arrogant too. Narcissist.
And then how do you handle it?
Thank you very much. I'm glad you see me that way, but I wish you would sit down and take a moment to truly ask me about the way I behave. You know, my confidence is so high, and some people will look at me and call me arrogant, narcissist. I've heard that so many times. I've had girls that I dated that call me narcissist.
I think some people don't know how to read it. I think some people are wondering, is he really that confident, or is it an act?
No, nothing I do is an act. When I'm being nice and it hurts me, that's an act.
So when was the last time you were nice?
Whoo, boy. Like I said, 6 years old, I was nice.
You haven't been nice since.
That's an act, okay? I was very nice at 6 years old, and that hit me real hard. And it was the most regret that I had. But when I went back and uncovered that mistake, my life has been different ever since. Completely different. When I graduated high school, it was kind of between nice and good, and decided to just put my life on hold for a moment, literally just work in the service of others. It was a good thing to do, but it was also partially being nice. I was a little bit hurt, but I was also a little bit good because my family now really thanks me for it. Like, sales, thank you. You know, my cousin was telling me recently, she's like, listen, I remember when my father didn't have job, didn't have everything, you took the place and you said, I'm going to help you, and you pay for our tuitions. She said that I would never forget, and I love you forever for that.
Do you think you did any of that out of, was there any kind of guilt from that absence of 3 years that you were on that line of, okay, this is good, but I'm being nice. But at the same time, I guess it was bringing you some kind of peace to do that, right?
Yeah, it was definitely bringing me some kind of peace. I think the part that was hitting me was I had an expectation for them that they didn't have for themselves. That was the part about being nice. I needed not to have an expectation for the good that I was doing. Because I was doing the good and had an expectation that I would go and graduate school and be successful and not drop out, that's what hurt me. It was my expectation of them that hurts me, not their expectation of me. Definitely wasn't their actions towards me. They didn't treat me wrongly at all. They did nothing to me. But I had an expectation. I've already cooked this. The ingredient was already made. I'm going to pay your tuition. You're going to go to school. You'll graduate. Well, ding. Wasn't that the same position that you were in once upon a time, Abraham? When people wanted you to do things and you like, nope. Wasn't that the same position that you were in when your father said, let's go? You said, sorry, I don't want to leave. Wasn't that the same position that you were in when your father and your mother said to you, hey, we want you to have this lifestyle here in this country, and you said no? Well, if that was the same situation that I was in, why was I so angry at my cousins, at my brothers, at my sister for not following through? I couldn't anymore after that moment. They asked for help. The outcome, they didn't ask for it. They didn't even know. So that was my expectation of them. So don't put expectation that you have for yourself on other people. So when people call me arrogant, it actually motivates me.
Do you think that's a reflection of themselves at all?
Definitely. Fear.
People...
More fear than anything else. Because when we don't know, or when we see something that we don't know, we don't recognize, we don't understand, it brings fear to us. And sometimes when you're around people who are nice character, that's what I consider weak character, and you are someone of a good character because you make decisions that are not based on emotion alone, but logic. Someone that sees you from an emotional point of view, you look completely different. They see you as heartless, as lacking empathy, as lacking compassion, because they don't have a good character to understand the power of good and that it takes strength and will to be good. It takes courage, it takes strength to say no to the people that you love and appreciate. It takes even more to say no to someone that you fall in love with. Because there's a difference to the people that we love and the people that we fall in love with. Because when we fall in love with someone, we have desire that everything that we have to be shared with them. Begin our choice, not their choice. Someday they wake up and say, hey, I no longer want to share this love with you. What do? You cry and you blame them? No, they served their times. The purpose for which they were here, if you've been paying attention, it's being served, it's being complete. Take time and grieve a little bit, reflect a little, and understand why they were in your life in the first place. And if you understand that, you will find that the path forward is so clear and is brighter for your good and everyone else that is still with you, and for those that come in your way and you will meet along the way. So I don't take things personal when someone calls me any names at all. I will say though, when someone calls me nice, I take offense to that.
I've noticed that.
Because I don't consider myself to be a nice person. So to call me nice is telling me that I'm weak. I don't believe I'm a weak person.
Has anybody called you that you felt knew you really well? Or does that only happen from
strangers?
Like acquaintances and strangers. Yeah.
Strangers who don't know me well. And I say strangers, you might be an acquaintance, but we haven't spent any time talking. So based on maybe limited interaction, you've already made up your mind of who I am. So you can say, oh, Abraham is a nice person. Please don't call me nice. I do nice things. I'm not a nice person. So what about you? Because you talked about, you've noticed me being very mad because you've been around me a little bit more. When someone called me nice, I'm not a nice person. How do you pick up on that?
Well, because you do things that, in my opinion, isn't nice. You know, there's things that we have disagreed on. If you were nice, you would just like hold my hand and like, you know, try to say things to like make me feel better. But I mean, you don't do that. And so I remember the conversation maybe a couple of weeks ago. We had this conversation very briefly and somebody mentioned it and I agreed. I said, no, he's not nice. Like, yeah, he's a good person, but he's not nice. And it's really just from knowing you, you know, over these past few months, just different experiences. Yeah. You, like you said, you can do things that seem nice, but when it comes down to being a people pleaser, definitely not you.
No.
Yeah.
No, and you're right, you know, and it takes people who have taken time to know me to understand that Abraham is not a nice person.
Yep, you have to go through the experiences, yeah.
You really have to. And I'm a good person who do nice things. The outfit that I'm wearing, this is a nice outfit. Tell me that my outfit is nice. I believe you. I tell you that your hair is nice. Yeah? When you get dressed up, nice hair. Nice outfit. You look good. That's nice. You know, the things that you do are nice. So I refer to nice to the things that you do and the things that you wear materialistically. So if I equip that with how I treat you, do you see the difference? if I equip your character with the things that are materialistically attached to you, does that define the character that you are?
Definitely not.
But if I remove those things and see you for the character that you are, then I'm only interested in communicating with that character that you are and getting the best out of you each and every day. And if you give me your best, what you notice is I give you my best. And I don't think I will ever say no to someone who has made a good decision to do something good that benefit other people. I will say no to somebody who have made a selfish decision to do something nice for themselves so that they can be pleased. That I would say no to.
And are you talking about business now?
Business, personal, doesn't matter for me. In business, personal, all the same. If I'm dating somebody who is desired to just do nice things selfishly, I don't date them. Because the goodness in me have not allowed me to be single, narrow-minded, and fixed on one person. That said, the entire room will know that you're with me. The entire room will know that this person is the person that I'm with. No question about it, no mistakes about it. You will be respected. You will be careful. You will be introduced to any and everyone that I talk to. And now I want you to take the time to start your own conversation. Get to know people. Find out and discover this room. Maybe the way I discovered. When we return to our place where we're one-on-one, that's the time now for me to really be locked in with you. In public, I will hold your hand. I will show all the affection that you need to do. But if you're engaging, because there have been circumstances, and I say this because there have been circumstances where I dated people and we go out and they feel completely left out. Can't help it.
They feel left out because you're talking to everybody and they're by themselves somewhere else?
Yes. And we're in a social environment. A social environment, we there to socialize. This is a place we socialize with our friends that we don't see often. Our colleagues that we don't spend enough time with. That's why we have social gatherings. We don't go to social gatherings and stick to our spouses or our significant other the whole time and let the rest of the room be. If that's the case, stay home.
Some people do that though.
Yeah, don't go out.
They want to just be with each other and look at everyone else.
Right, and those people that do that most of the time, again, I'm not putting a claim to it, but maybe they don't have enough time at home by themselves. And maybe their social gathering is really their time together. So they want to use that time for themselves. So I reason with those people that do that. I'm saying I'm not that guy. Right. I'm not one of those people. And if I'm with somebody, they need to understand that we cannot be those people, because our one-on-one time needs to be away from the people where we can be locked in mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Right? Social gathering, that's my visual world. I'm just there to have fun and connect with everyone that I don't see every day. After 1 or 2 hours, I'm gone. Your problems stay with you. I go with my problems. So there isn't really much that can be done in that setting to show more love to you than I already have. To do more good with you, for you, than I've already done and I've continuously done.
All right. So good. So just to kind of summarize good versus nice, like what, in a summary, if you could speak to the people at the dance studio, your business partners, just people in general, like what do you want to be the biggest takeaway? Is it recognizing good versus nice? Like how would you just summarize the purpose of the main message you want to get across here?
Stop being nice and learn to be good.
That doesn't mean to be mean. Just put the good before.
Stop being nice.
Stop being nice.
Learn to be good. I don't want you to change my words, so I said it again. Learning to be good is understanding that it doesn't come easy. It comes with what someone might say is a sacrifice, because you have to make decisions that is bigger than you. So for instance, at my dance studio, what happened when somebody walked through that door? I am being good to them, because in that moment, at the professional setting, I have chosen that this is my calling, this is my life's works, is a responsibility for which I have chosen to serve. Again, back to the reference that we made earlier from the Bible, right? We are here to serve, not to be served, and to be a ransom to many. So the many people that walked into my class on a weekly basis, I am being good to them because I have made a decision that what I want in that day is to have a good, impactful lesson. If I have a good, impactful lesson, they may walk in with lack of energy. But my good, impactful lesson that is also coupled with my good character to reason with them will allow them to have an amazing time that will allow them to come again the next day, the next week, because they're remembering how they left, not how they came in. So when someone comes into me for a service, the good thing to do is by preparing myself to be mentally, spiritually, and emotionally available to them 110% of the time. Because when I'm teaching, I am learning. And the purpose of this world, as I come to understand of life, is to create and extend. So if that is true, and the purpose is the way of creation and extension, then I've already made a choice to extend this to so many more people, and that's the work that I'm doing. It is the good work. It is how I'm impacting so many more around me who will see me and say, man, Abraham is a good teacher. I don't want to see people say, Abraham is a nice teacher. If I hear someone say Abraham is a nice teacher, I need to do more work to be a better teacher. I want them to say Abraham start with good teacher, great teacher, excellent teacher, an amazing teacher, the best teacher. These are the adjectives that I want people to use to describe the work that I do. The word nice was never intended to be good. We've attached it to character, just like we've built characters out of the movies, and now we come to see that as character when our true and character is in there within ourselves and the goodness that we do. So because nice is not really a positive word, it refers to stuff that we wear, things that we do, external things, materialistic things. It has nothing to do with our character. That is why I take offense to it when someone called me nice or attached nice to me other than the things that I wear.
But kind, though. What about kind?
Kindness is within goodness. If I am good, I am kind. I am kind. That's why I do my job so well. My kindness is being able to empathize with people. When somebody walks into me, I can see the energy that they walk in with. And I'm able to mirror that and give them my good energy in return. So
now if someone calls you nice, but you know their intention is not the way you think of the word nice, are you still going to be offended?
Well, I've told you as many times. You say you're not, and I told you as many. I'm not a nice person.
Yeah.
Even when you say, hey, yes, exactly, right? I'm not a nice person. Mm-hmm. Now, some people might be offended by hearing that and say, what a jerk. I'm okay with that. But again, let's educate ourselves in the world that we live in, and especially to accomplish the desires of our heart. If we desire to be good, let's understand what goodness is. Kindness. I'm doing a kind thing for people when they come in with their hard day, and I'm listening to them. And I'm giving them an uplifting spirit. What they want is a positive, uplifting message, not a negative one, because they already are in the negative. So if I'm nice, I'm going to hold their hand and say, oh, it's okay. What a jerk. How could they do that to you? Instead, in that moment, what I choose to do, I would give that person a hug and say very simply, I'm so glad that you're here now. And now that you're here, let's change the energy. I'm going to do my best to make sure you leave feeling better and grateful that you came in. That's a kindness. What I have done, I've heard them, I've listened to them, I've reasoned with them, and I've empathized with them by giving them my kindness, my good energy. The positive vibes that I have within me, they now receive it and it's genuine. By holding the hand and saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happens to you. People are so messed up. People are jerks. How can any of this happen? Well, I'm throwing fuel to the fire. I'm not helping the cause. They probably don't want to talk about this. What they really want to do is forget this day. So by me being nice, I've actually invigorated this, and now the brain is wired to create so many different ideas and scenario of what they did to have led to the action that was taken towards them. Well, I put myself in a position to be kind so that the reaction that they have from me is a positive one that will influence them to maybe look at this a little differently. And time after time, people come to me, not just as a dancer, but as a coach. And being a life and a business coach, that's something that I learned. That when someone comes to you with their sad story, you don't bring your own sad story up. If you bring, I'm not trying to outdo you on your story. That's your day. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to reason with you. I probably won't tell you what you want to hear, but I will tell you and give you what you need and want in that moment. And if you took a moment and just sit back and reassess, you'll say, oh my gosh. And that happened countless times. People will always, first interaction with me, maybe like, what? Go a little bit further. That makes sense. That's kindness. That's goodness, because I've actually done something to influence another to see a goodness within themselves and become better.
Well, now I have a podcast I can point people towards when they talk about you being nice and being good, if they need the breakdown of it. So I appreciate you sharing your story and those significant moments where you distinguished nice versus good. Coming into it, I was like, what is this going to be about? But I see it now. And so I'm not going to be nice anymore. I'm going to try not to be. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Well, yeah, honestly, it's the best thing for everybody. And understanding that honesty is not for others. I don't have to be honest for your good. I have to be honest for my good. Because if my good is good, it affects your good and we become good together. And you're probably wondering today, am I a good person? I know a lot of you wonder this question. Am I a nice person? Am I a kind person? You're asking yourself the question, who am I? Based on things that have happened in your life. You're asking yourself the question, why do these things happen to me? Why don't I get a break in life? And you're looking for answers in so many different places, just the wrong places. The answers that you seek is already within you. And at times you've heard the answers already. You just haven't gained the courage to stop being nice and be good to yourself. So the answer is, are you a good person? Look within your heart and find that. Because in order for you to define yourself, again, once upon a time, I was not a good person. I was just nice.
Can't imagine. I don't know, like what you mean before 6 years old?
Yeah, before 6 years old, I was just nice.
Yeah.
I just did what people wanted me to do.
Yeah,
I was just carrying out a message for other people. So to be good, you have to really find out, are you a good person? You're trying to find the answer. Here's what I will tell you. In our creation, when God created each and every one of us, He created us perfect in who we are. And if you are someone who is not born with any kind of disability, you ought to be super grateful. Especially with no physical limitation to you and no mental hindrance to you. You ought to be really grateful because you are so perfect in that creation that anything else that you do from that point forward is deriving from the character that you have now manifested within yourself. So you have the potential to be a good person. You have the potential to be a kind person, just as much as you have the potential to be a nice person. So if you want the gratification of having many friends who adore you, be nice. Who just speak your praise because you love it when people speak your praise, be nice. It fuels your thing because you thrive on this for people to hold your hand and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this happened to you, be nice. If you desire to do good and have a positive impact on the world, starting with yourself, your family, your community, and everyone else, be good. In the moment, it would seem like a bad thing, like a worse thing. Follow it, trust it, continuously work along that, relentlessly pursuing that, because in yourself, you've already seen the picture. You've already seen the outcome. Be good and do that. And at the end of the day, what you will see is that the world that you always imagine creating, it will be handed to you. And once that word is now handed to you and you achieved it, you can now sit within that or on top of that world and continue to build and add to this. So when you look at the word of finance, we constantly say to rich people are greedy. Well, the reason rich people consistently work hard to earn money because they have a desire to do more good, that there's not enough money there to do all these good things. Good people understand that to make change, you need two things: money and influence or power. Because if you have money, you can influence some things. To have money, you have to educate yourself in the way of success to earn how to earn money. So if you put yourself in a position to be able to earn money and create wealth for yourself and to in the interest of benefiting so much, you're putting in yourself in a position to be good and do good. When that happens for you, you are now accomplishing your goal, but you never stopped. So I admire and adore successful people who continuously work, because the interest that they're working for and towards is bigger than themselves. So for anyone who wants to be nice, but know that nice is not going to get you anywhere. And for anyone who maybe talk negatively about successful people who are good, perhaps maybe you should start to change perspective on them, not a story. Just try to understand why successful people are the way they are. Taking it from me again, someone who was born with nothing, no money, pretty much the poor as it can get, to come to understand at this level, if any of us desire it, we will be given the same opportunity. So take your energy from the external and refocus it on the internal. One of my favorite songs from Michael Jackson is Man in the Mirror.
I love that song.
I love that song.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite songs. Every morning I wake up, I look in the mirror and I see beyond the physical. I see past the sleepless night, the baggy eyes. Because I'm not sleeping well, I know this is a result. But I look past that and I look within to say, what does the man in the mirror truly want? Not the physical mirror, but the spiritual and mental one. And it's strong. He's powerful. He's good. And everything around him is good because he's good. Everything around him that happened to him, for him, happened for his good because he's good. Nothing nice happened to him though. And nothing nice happened for him because people aren't truly nice to him. Because he's not a nice person. So he's not going to receive niceness from people. So when people aren't nice to him, he's happy. Because he's known that's not the kind of energy that he projects. That's not what he gives. So he can't expect to receive that. So when I looked in the mirror, I'm grateful to be blessed, not lucky. I'm grateful to be blessed to know the things that I have learned and to apply them first to myself. And if it works for me and it's good and it's showcasing some results, that's something I can live with. That's something I can trust. So the message here is, along the line, we're talking about character. So if you didn't see my first podcast, go ahead and watch that. We talk about the power of self-mastery, the discovery. And leading to that, now we're talking about the discovery of nice versus good. Why is it that you can't move forward? Because you're too nice. And you continue to be nice to everyone around you because you think it's the right thing to do.
And it's the easy thing to do.
It is the easy thing to do in the moment.
Then you wake up and it's days later, weeks later, and you've just been nice the whole time.
Yeah, and you go nowhere. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you're in the same spot. And you hate yourself for it. I have always wished and hoped and prayed that all my friends and family would just be good. And with that goodness comes love. With that goodness comes empathy, compassion, and the list can go on. So I hope we all continue to love fearlessly and live fully in everything and all things that we do. Because fearlessness brings about the truth character of a person. When we have fear, we react differently. When we have no fear, we excel at a rate that is unimaginable even to ourselves. So by being fearless and loving fully, I'm able to consistently maintain the peace that I have within me. No matter what anyone said or does to me, it matters what I do and say to myself. So if you're going to reject the words that people say to you, don't say them to yourself. If you're going to reject the things that people do to you, don't do them to yourself.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Whatever energy I have put forth will come back to me. Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed this message today. Hopefully you enjoyed my previous podcast. And if you didn't, go watch it, A Discovery to Self-Mastery. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and look me up on Amazon and look for my book, The Inner Light. A lot of what I talk about here, I talk about in the book. And if you have the chance and opportunity to read The Inner Light, you will actually get to know me and understand the character that I am and how I became this character. And it's no secret. So subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. And my hope and desire is that we will all find a goodness within ourselves. And if we haven't yet, that we will have the courage to choose to be good. And if this podcast didn't fully explain it to you, message me. The Starting Point Coaching is here to help you, put you on a good track to accomplish these things. We can guide you towards that. How to make fearless decisions, how to make good decisions, how to love fearlessly and live fully, how to let go of your fear and master the act of love. This is what we are about because I believe, that if more people do these things, there will be less and less evil in the world. But it starts with us, one person at a time. And I'll quote the famous quote. And I really remember who actually said this originally, but it said, be the good you wish to see in others. And that is so true. You want other people to be good to you, but you're not good to yourself, it wouldn't happen. You want other people to be good to you, be good to yourself. My family have proven to me that by being good to myself, they can be good to me.
Thank you for sharing your message. Do you have the next topic for the next podcast? Is this like a weekly thing?
The goal is be for a weekly podcast. I don't plan the next podcast before the one is complete because the inspiration comes after this moment is completed. So I'm fully in the moment focusing on this podcast. When this is fully done and published, then I'm focusing on my next topic. But you best believe it's going to be a good one. Thank you so much, Lena. Thank you
for your message.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for sitting in and make this more lively. And hopefully the audience knows and appreciate the message that was shared today. And, if any of you want to be here with me and ask me these personal questions and get to know me, my message is open invitation to all who wants to be a part of this table. So like the message, share it, request to say it on my next podcast, and we'll make it happen. Thank you to everyone who is part of the production team at Verac Studio. Again, I always appreciate being here and doing my podcast. I love you all very much. Continue to love fearlessly and live fully. Thank you. The world is your playground.